Okay, it's recording now.
Okay, cool. Okay, so everyone, yeah, I'm Richard. Thank you for being here. The title is Hunting and Hustling, Doorways to Direct Clients. So I want to cover quite a lot of topics today, and I might not be able to do it in exhaustive detail, like I said, but I at least want to put the topics out there and give you the ideas. And I want to stay in touch with people if they're, keen, and I want to develop the ideas in more detail later, because it's basically what I'm trying to do is get 25 years of experience and condense it into a presentation in a way, and it's not that easy, but I hope I can give you some good tips and pointers and spark some useful thoughts off. Finding clients, persuading, negotiating, convincing SMEs and entrepreneurs, and also VAs, so virtual assistants. I have two great VAs with me helping me with the presentation. The presentation you see today wouldn't be possible without their help, and I'm very grateful. And this is part of what I want to talk about, because I think many people don't know about this, or it doesn't seem like it's necessarily connected to translation, but it's proved a real game changer for me, and I'd like to talk about that. So next slide, please. Okay, so this is hi from me. I was in Holland 2 weeks, Netherlands 2 weeks ago, visiting the tulip gardens, and yeah, I'm a big fan. And with all the stress in the world, it was nice to bury myself in 7 million tulips. And yeah, this is Keukenhof. I'm sure some of you have been here. It's recommended. The season is finished now. Every year, April, May is the time to see them if you like tulips, and it was great. So yeah. Okay, next slide. So. Most of you may know, but I was in Japan a long time. I came to Germany last April. Before that, I was living in Japan. I'm jumping around a bit. I was in Japan almost 20 years, and it was an epic time. This picture is from my favorite area of Japan called Nagano. It's in the middle of Japan. It's about an hour from Tokyo, and it's a really beautiful place. Many of you, I don't know how many of you have been to Japan, but it was the most popular tourist destination before COVID. This place happens to be called Kamikochi, which is like place of the gods or something like that. And if you're in Japan, that is one of the places which should be on your list, I would say. Yeah, so hi everyone, keep going please. I was born in the UK. I went to Australia when I was a little boy. Dad was in the Navy. We moved there. That was like going to the moon at that time. I mean, you can imagine as a early 80s, flying to Australia was like going to the moon. Moved back to Devon in 86, and about that time I said to my mum, I want to live in Tokyo one day. I lived in Tavistock, which is a very, very small English town, very typical, but there was always something in my mind that wanted a big city and bright lights. So, that was always in my mind. I wanted the opposite of this nice English town. When I was 13, we moved to Sheffield. My dad got a job in the University of Sheffield, moved to Sheffield. Wednesday fan, talking about football again. Next one, please. And I went to University of Manchester and studied French and German. My languages were always my best subject. I was always good at languages. And as a kid, I read voraciously. I read many, many books. And of course, being a translator, you have to be good at writing, as you'd all probably agree. And people ask about writing well. One of the key things I think is reading a lot when you're a child, because if you don't have that bank of words and vocabulary, difficult to get it as an adult. We have less time. So, languages were always my thing, and also travel. The third year was in Alsace. I spent a year in Mulhouse. I taught English, and I did some translation side hustle, and that kind of got me into the mood of finding work. And I literally knocked on the door. In that time, I knocked on the door of an agency, and I just said, I can do work. Have you got any work? And they actually did. Maybe I wouldn't do that now, but I did, and I got some work and actually made enough money to fly to America, which was great. So it kind of showed me what is possible. Just turned 20, fly to New York. It was very exciting. I just stood on Twin Towers. It was a really a formative experience, I would say. So I graduated and I went to Asia. Wasn't that happy in the UK. My dad used to travel with his job and he used to go to the Far East. And Singapore was actually an easy place to start because they speak English there, obviously. So I taught English and French. I worked as a journalist and I did some more translation. And it was great, actually. Singapore was an interesting place, great food, very small. You can go everywhere in half an hour, but it was a great experience. It was like an easy way to start Asia, I would say. And they drink tea, obviously I'm addicted to tea, and it's a form of British colony. So if you want to find afternoon tea, or you want to play cricket or something like that, you can do it quite easily in Singapore. Yeah, so Singapore was a good place to start my Asian experience. But as I said, it's very small. So in my mind was still this wish to go to Japan. So when I was 27, I went to Tokyo, I moved to Japan, and Japan was really special. The most special thing I would say is that I learned Japanese from zero, and I made a network there from zero, absolutely zero. And as you know, Japanese is far from an easy language, and the culture is also very difficult to integrate in completely, and making friends and so on. And I did that. I went around the whole country, and particularly work-wise, this is where I hit the ground running and opened a lot of doors, sometimes through brute force and fierce determination and persistence, but also I think language ability, but a combination of both. But I was very, very hungry and willing to try everything. And at the time, work was freely available because Japanese English is not so good. I was editing and writing and translating. So I'm cutting a long story short here. I got married and had two boys. I have two boys, but there was 9 years in Tokyo, 8 years in Tokyo, and I had my first son. Moved to Kobe for 11 years, West Japan, and then move on, please. Next slide. Last April, I moved to Dusseldorf in Germany, and I'm still up for more adventures. I still, feel on a good day 25, although everyone's gonna laugh when I say that, but I'm definitely, as people who know me well, see my social media, I'm definitely up for everything. 3 weeks ago for my birthday, I went to Europa Park, the biggest amusement park in Europe. Went on all the rides, I arranged babysitting. It's just me, I have to do things to the maximum, and it applies to work and play. So yeah. Okay, let's keep going. So I mentioned Japan and all these doors. I literally, when I got to Japan, I was in Tokyo, I was teaching English, trying to make some money, but obviously I wanted to, get more work and hustle for work. So I just, opened the Yellow Pages equivalent. I wrote a template and I just sent it off to all the agencies, every single agency in the book, either email or fax. I just, blasted it off, and over 600. And I think some of them still have my email or fax somewhere. So scattergun is what you could say. I'm sure many of you listening have done that. Maybe you don't do it now, but at one point you did that. When you first became a translator, you want work, how do we get work? We've got to talk to people and give me work. But you have to be more subtle than that. But that's the time, most people start in that way, or many people do. Let's keep going. So, here I am, myself, what I do, I can do these languages, and I love to help them. And keep going. Remind them my contact, thank them in advance for replying positively, and probably 1 to 2%, so literally 5 or 10 responses. But that was enough to get work flowing, and I think mainly because the English level is so low, and me offering to improve it, some people said yes. So that was the start of Japan. And let's keep going. I'm just going quite fast because we have quite a lot of ground to cover. Later on in my life in Japan, a company in Europe said, we'll do this for you. You give us a template, give us your resume, we'll send it out to all the companies for you. And this seems really bad practice. And I kind of agree, but I don't think it was bad at the time, because economically, when I paid them 50 and I did that, the work that came back was many times more. So it was definitely worth it from an economic perspective. I don't think it would work now. It worked at the time. I don't think it would work now, because it would just not go with the current, the GDPR and everything, the data protection, everything. It's different era we're in. So I wouldn't do it now, and it wouldn't work again. But if you keep going. But it wasn't a waste of time, because I remember there was translators desperate, and they were asking for work and saying, I need to pay the bills, and I haven't got any work, and I can't find clients. And I said to them in this group once, I said, there's a company here that if you write to them, I'm sure they can get you work. You're all professionals like I was. And so this company got like 30, applications and people who pay the money. And they were very happy, and the people who paid the money were very happy because they got the work. And it's not as simple as ABC, but there was a place for it at the time. And it's in my instinct, like today, to do that. When I have some knowledge which can help people, I think it's great to share. So I have this word womik, and you're going to ask me what it is. Can anyone suggest what womik means? It's my made-up word. Anyone like to guess what it means? Womik. It's can you guess? Christine says you know it, so maybe not you. Okay, so I'll vomit. No, it's not vomit. No, I was drinking yesterday. I'm not drinking today. I'm just drinking tea. No alcohol today. Not yet. Okay, I will come back to that later. Let's keep going. So, source of clients, embassies. Why do I say that? So let's look at this picture. French-speaking countries. As you can see, French-speaking countries are much more than just France. A lot of Africa speaks French still, you know, and obviously Quebec and some other countries. So French-speaking countries, if you Google that, you see about 16, 17, I don't know how many, but there could be 20 or close to 20. So is key, yes, is key is correct. Lisa, yes, key is key. Okay, but every embassy keeps a list of translators and interpreters, okay? And they also function as a kind of hub for trade from the home country to the target country, the country where the embassy is. And when you know this, and embassies are a bit of a closed shop, but this doesn't mean that you can never go into the embassy network and be part of it. My wife worked in the British Embassy in Tokyo for 2 years. I'm not going to say that opened every door, but you know, most of you on LinkedIn, I think you're all on LinkedIn, and as you know, LinkedIn is very valuable. Embassy people are also on LinkedIn, not just the ambassador, but also the ambassador. Now you'd be surprised. Word of mouth is key. Yes, very good, Sylvia. Very good. Okay, Sylvia got it. Word of mouth is key. Womick. I would say, you know, the other day I went to Hamburg and I met the British ambassador for, you know, for Germany, and I have added, you know, people on LinkedIn. And the thing is, it's kind of like momentum. If you have some people on your LinkedIn who are in this network already, then it's kind of like people will think this person is okay, legitimate. And I believe that embassies potentially is really a good source of work because they're always getting inquiries from people asking for translation and translators. You know, they handle stuff like birth, marriages, death, divorces, certificates, translation. Yeah, and I believe that, you know, embassies can be a good. Okay, my voice is kind of distorted. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You're muted, Rich. You're muted. Turn on your mic.
Sorry, I don't know. I heard my own voice then. Yeah, embassies. So let's keep going. Germany as well. Oh, let's keep next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so as you know, German speakers, German does not just mean Germany, it's DAC. It's like Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So also when you think of this embassy potential, think of all three of them in every market. That's just something I would like to planting a seed in your mind. Embassies can be useful and worth looking into, I would say, on LinkedIn especially. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Trade shows. A lot of people mention this when they talk about direct client acquisition. I researched a bit myself yesterday, looked at what other people said. Some of this is repeating what you may already know, but trade shows are starting again. Well, I live in Düsseldorf, and it's exploding now because people haven't been doing it for 2 years, and suddenly, you know, COVID is easing. I hope mostly where you are as well, and people have been missing these events, and suddenly it's like exploding. You know, there's many events happening which couldn't happen for a long time. But what you have to remember is the companies at trade shows are there to sell. They pay a lot of money to be there, and direct sales don't really work because they are trying to sell, and if you try to sell to them, it just goes against, you know, the whole thing. But I still consider them a useful events and useful things to think about when you're marketing. Let's keep going. There's two things in my mind about trade shows which I think are useful. There's the venue running the trade show, which is like a management company or the company that owns the venue. Now they have to manage events, and they get inquiries from companies who are asking for interpreters, translators. I know from personal experience that making links with these kind of companies can be very useful because they get questions, they get asked about providing manpower and translators and interpreters. There was one called JMA in Japan Management Association. You know, there are kind of associations like this, which if you make yourself known to them, or if you network with them either online or offline, probably online, in LinkedIn again, that can be useful because they will, at some point, they will get asked, or they will be helping the companies coming to exhibit. And if your name is in their radar, that could be helpful, I believe. This last point is the VAs. Now, this is what I think is something people don't really think about, maybe. Let's say you have an exhibition in your target area for beauty. It could be beauty cosmetics, or it could be tourism or something. You know, there is enough shows for everyone to find something they like or it resonates with everyone. And if the number of exhibitors is manageable, like not 100 or 50 to 100, or, you know, that kind of number, if the VAs know what you want in your business well, which is, you know, talk to them and let them know your business inside out and your personality, pre-qualify interest from companies, use the VAs. This is what I did. Someone asked about where to find these companies. The companies, if you click on the events will generally have a list of the exhibitors. This is what I mean. Events coming up in advance will have a list of exhibitors. That is where you can get the company information. Now, what I'm saying is, there's a long list of companies. You don't want to email all the companies the same thing. But if you talk to VAs, which I have done, and you say, like, this is the kind of company I like, this size, this kind of area, you know, this kind of look and feel, they can do the screening for you, and they can choose, for example, 1/3 of those companies which they think have promise for you. Then, you know, they can approach them for you if necessary. This is something which I think is a different idea, but I think it can be really useful. And even if you approach 30 and only 5 of them get back to you, it's still having, you know, you have a different feeling when you go to the event, because you're paying money to go there. Probably you're paying money to travel there and go there. If you get a positive response from some companies, you feel much better about going there. You know, you have people to see. It's not random. It's kind of like things in place. And you don't know if you're going to get work, but it's definitely, for me, it's good to do that before you go, because then you feel on the day you have a definitely reason to be there. And just generally it makes all the interaction easier. So where do you find out trade shows? I just feel that most cities, I mean, it may not be your town where you live, but, you know, most cities of some size have a trade show venue, trade fair or trade show. You may have to travel, but if it's really your, you know, your area, and if it's not too far away, and if, like I said, if you manage to look at companies and you qualify them, I think it definitely could be worth it. If you had 5 good answers from companies, I would, you know, pay for the travel and go. It depends. If the ticket's really expensive, maybe you think twice, but, you know, now, like I said, there's many events happening now, and I'm sure that all of you could find something which you would find interesting and worthwhile. Let's keep going, because I've lots more to cover. So go to the venue website, check upcoming events, choose a manageable number of exhibitors. If you get 1,000, I think it's too many. You know, it should be maybe 2 digits or 3 at maximum. Train your VA to understand your ideal company. Ask them to screen exhibitors and make a short list. This is just my idea. Okay, let's keep going. Lighthouse effect. Why do I say this? Because like attracts like, and when you're doing a translation, you obviously don't go and jump and contact the end client and say, like, you know, I'm a translator, because you sign an NDA. You're not allowed to do that. A lot of you work through agencies, so you can't contact the end client. So I'm not saying do that in a way, but when you have an end client in a certain area, there's nothing stopping you looking at other companies in that area. You know, that if you enjoy the work and you do it well, that for me is like a kind of lighthouse. It's like, I like that area. This is something I can focus on. It's like an area of the market which I do well. And one example for me was, like, in Japan, there was a research center, KDDI. It's like a phone company, mobile phone. And they used to send me their papers, like scientific papers. Other companies would have similar. So I'm saying that, you know, look at the jobs you enjoy most, and what kind of clients are giving you those jobs through the agencies. Try to find similar companies. The other thing is people. On your LinkedIn, I'm sure that some of you have people you think are very well connected and, you know, close to your ideal client or close to your ideal contact. I think LinkedIn is about that. It's nothing wrong with looking at who they interact with and what they post and who comments on their post. You know, it's not secret. It's designed for that purpose. LinkedIn is about connecting. So I say stalk, but I don't mean in a bad meaning. You know, I know it has connotations. I mean stalk in the sense of, think about the people on LinkedIn and the work you enjoy best, and look around that person, look around that company, that person, who are they connected with, who do they talk to, who comments on their posts. If you connect well with that person, or you think they could be a good person for you, potentially, their contacts will also like to be good for you. My example is Japan Desk. I speak Japanese. I'm in Europe. Japan Desk is kind of like where the Japanese go to, get products and services. In Germany, for example, that is a really hot area for me, and probably would work in France or Netherlands as well. So like attracts like. This is just another idea I'm throwing there for you. Keep going, please. Associations. British Chamber of Commerce. Chambers of Commerce, I'm really, really big fan of Chambers of Commerce. Japan German Business Association. You'd be surprised. Most of you have a top language pair, like a source language and a target language. You'd be surprised how often you can find an association specifically for that kind of those two languages, those two cultures. And I just think that if you do that, you definitely can find in that network of people or that association, which usually has a list of members or is not expensive to join, you can find people that are very useful to you. And if they don't have work directly, they will know people who do. And this is about, it's networking. It's absolutely key. The point I want to make here is that, I'm probably stating the obvious, but a lot of you are very well qualified. And as a translator, being well qualified is important, I agree. But more important is how well you network and socialize. I have to be really honest, and I'm absolutely sure of this. In my experience, what opens more doors is how well you are good at finding opportunities, but not only finding them, making them about opening doors, not holding back, being proactive, being spontaneous, finding something which could be promising and approaching it without fear. And this is what I do. And I have done many years, and actually have many examples. I can't really put the examples up here because it wouldn't make it, if I put emails on the screen, it doesn't make a difference. But that's why afterwards, I hope I could connect with more of you in the group and explain this in more detail. But yeah, these associations, next slide, please. Keep going. Okay, so I have a Romanian friend in Japan, for example, a really good friend of mine, Romanian, and we have some Romanian people here, I know. And he just graduated, and he said to me, like, I'm stuck, I need work, and he's actually a really great linguist. And I said to him, you have a Romanian Chamber of Commerce in Japan. It's not massive because it's not a big country, but look, that's an advantage. You have a Romanian Chamber of Commerce. You have a manageable number of companies there. This is a great chance for you. This is manageable. You could spend 3 days on LinkedIn and connect with all of them. And this could open a lot of doors for you. You can tell them, you're a graduate from this university, which is good. You have this degree. You've been in Japan a long time, which he had. This for me is a no-brainer, There's a French Chamber of Commerce in Germany. There's a German-French Chamber of Commerce in Paris. There's usually a Chamber of Commerce which is relevant for you. And it costs money to join it. But even when you don't pay, you can usually find a list of members on the website. And again, similar to the previous idea, this is what I actually did with my 2 assistants here. I said, British Chamber of Commerce in Germany, can you stalk the list of companies and find companies which you think are me? And that saves a huge amount of time and trouble, but it's also narrowing it down to what you think is promising, what the people you're going to enjoy working with. So you doing it yourself might seem daunting, but this is why you kind of can outsource this kind of thing, I think, in my opinion. So Chambers of Commerce, not only Chambers of Commerce, if you spend 5 minutes Googling your languages, association, friendship association, society, even to the point you get, Society of French Surgeons in Germany, or, it can be very, very narrow, but you would be surprised how many associations you find which you could join without much money or work. And I think this kind of research is fascinating and productive in my experience. And a lot of it can be outsourced as well. So I'm just giving these ideas. Let's keep going. Making emails warmer. Now, there's no like one size fits all silver bullet for these emails or how I do it. It depends on my mood and everything, how much tea I drink and everything else. But like, I believe that my success rate, I would say, is good. I cannot promise that every time I write an email, they reply and say, okay, can you help me tomorrow? But like, I think so far, honestly, I have a really good success rate, not only with hustling for work, but many other situations. I have to say, I moved in the middle of pandemic from Japan to Germany. It wasn't anything but easy. I have a 2-year-old kid, and an older son with special needs. My wife's Japanese, never lived overseas, and everyone moving in the pandemic, you can imagine what it was like. I had to bang on doors and open doors in Japan as well. And I kind of have a habit of doing this. I write to companies a lot. And one thing I also want to make pushed here, people often just click on a company and say, where do we contact you, and write on a contact form. Actually, I don't do that. Why? Because this goes to the bottom of the company and the response is slow or non-existent. In my experience, you should always write to the decision maker or the top. Not always the top, but someone near the top, or someone who's ability to make decisions. More on that another time, because it's a complicated thing. And I don't mean spam. The thing is, people may have concerns about this. They say, like, you get someone's email, they won't like your email, and unsolicited and so on. I'm aware of that. I'm very aware of GDPR and everything like that. But in my experience, I've never had a boss write back to me and say, why are you emailing me? Because the email should be of a kind which they welcome, which is useful to them, or which doesn't bother them. They might not have a use for my services, but there's an art to doing it without, offending people. So I cannot promise that, everyone will be nice, but in my experience, definitely worthwhile. I have some tips. Look for people with detailed bios. Why? Because if they have a detailed bio on LinkedIn, it means they want to connect with people. The more detail put there, it means they want to tell you about themselves. They want to hear about you. That's my experience. Detailed bios, you have more to go on, and you have more chance to personalize your email, your message to them, or your email. So I call it hooks. You have more things, not just which university they went to, which languages they speak, but what they like, what's their philosophy. Look for people who want to connect, not just follow. As connect is different to following. Connecting on LinkedIn is more, a closer connection. And I believe that's also important. I always prefer to connect, not follow. I think following is very shallow. There's a place for it, obviously. You have 30,000 connections. Once you fill those up, you have to follow. Most of us haven't got 30,000, but connecting is a more, a deeper relationship. So I would say it's a good sign when the decision maker or the boss wants to connect. I would say it's a great sign. Look at what resonates on the website. Don't be afraid to quote it in your email. This is really a very basic thing, but I think it's really important. I often, when I send a cold email or a warm email, I always find something I can write about, whether I quote directly or I mention something about the company, what they're doing, what was written in the bio, and here, the fourth point, if you look at the company, check the other channels, check Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Again, this can be outsourced. And again, my assistants have done a great job here. I have said this, I've said, can you make me a short list, like a market intelligence, a cheat sheet, you could call it a cheat sheet of companies, and briefly, don't spend days doing it, but do they have anything on YouTube? Do they have anything on Instagram, Facebook, Google News? And if it's a company which has promise, the more intelligence in a way you have, the better, because collectively that will help you come across as someone who interested in them, and not just a random emailer saying give me work. The word I use when I talk to companies is I would love to network. I'm looking to connect with companies like yours. I noticed this. I mean, I cannot go into real specific detail at this point, but it's along those lines. I don't use sales language, I would say. It's more like I want to establish a connection. In a way, you're planting a seed, opening a door, planting a seed, establishing connection. Yeah. Let's keep going. Okay, being edgy is not bad. Yeah, I consider myself edgy, actually, in a way. Yeah, I'm not a shirt and tie person. I survived Japan because I wasn't in a Japanese company for 19 years. I was at home, self-employed. Now, I was writing to an advertising agency, and the guy was Romanian, actually, so Cluj is in Romania. And, you have to make a good subject line, because if the subject line isn't kind of catchy, we all get too many emails and we don't open them. So this guy was called Andy. My friend in Japan was also Andre. I call him Andy. So I said to him, he's also from Cluj. So my subject line to this guy was, to the second Andy I know in Cluj. And he did open it. And, that is obviously only going to work with that guy. But it's like, you can Google this, you can research it a lot. Subject lines are important. Subject lines are important. You shouldn't just say, writing about translation, offering my services. Now, I know I'm stating the obvious here, but you should make it compelling in a way. Try to craft it. stand out. You only have seconds to persuade them. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Yeah, let's keep going. So every now and again, you get stories about these guys or these ladies. So they either they pay for a billboard, a poster saying, looking for a wife or husband, you know, this is my profile. If you like me, you know, scan me and message me. This guy went to Canary Wharf and he was a graduate, you know, first class grad in banking, couldn't get a job in London. And so he literally went to Canary Wharf in London and he, you know, as you can see, he put that board, a QR code, which is very clever. So people can just like from for a distance, you know, zoom their phone and, you know, without talking to him, they don't want to talk to him. But I think it's great. It's like approach for my CV, any advice, just to chat. I love that idea. It's totally outside the box. I haven't done it myself, but I'm not saying I would never do it. Honestly, I may. If you all say it's good, maybe I will. I don't know, because I'm not sure I work in Germany, but I love the idea. I love the thinking behind it. It's like, it takes guts, yes. It's like free hugs on steroids. It takes a lot of guts to do that. I think I could. Someone said the other day, the ideal would be a pair, which I agree. If you're doing this as a pair, you can imagine it would be much more doable, right? Because you have safety in numbers, support each other. 2 is still not excessive number. I think this could work well as a pair. Free hugs on steroids. I think it could work well as a pair because if you both have a similar objective and you both have a similar thing you're showing, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but if I was doing it, I would feel much better doing it as a pair. It's just an idea, honestly. You could do it at a place where you want to work, a busy place. You could do it outside a meeting. You know, if there's a trade fair in your area, I can imagine you could go outside a trade fair venue. I mean, of course, it's scary and it's, you know, but my presentation is just to give you more ideas. And this is one idea. Yeah, I'm sure some of you could do it. Maybe you need to drink a bit first. I don't know. Anyway, so his name is Haider Malik. Haider Malik is his story. If you type in Canary Wharf guy who got a job or something, you'll find him. Let's keep going. Videos. Yeah, I think it's not that easy to make a video. It's not easy to do this presentation either, actually. But people don't do it, and that's why it has value, because most people don't do videos. I did one yesterday, and people were very nice about it. I live in Germany, and Germany, as you know, the bureaucracy is crazy. Now, I have to fight them to get support for our families sometimes, literally. And I pride myself on writing. I can write without a problem. But when you write about detailed issues, the emails get long and people don't read them. So recently what I've done is written an email like this long and I put a Google link and I said a 5-minute video. I had to talk to a lawyer about some difficult issue. And I said to him, you know, this issue will take too long to discuss by email. So here's a video. And I did it in German about, you know, but I think sending a video can be great. It depends on the situation. The creative companies love this. Lawyers might not like it. I don't know, but I would say definitely worth considering 2-minute video to prospective clients, and also LinkedIn. You know, if you do messaging on LinkedIn, why not do a video sometime? It's not that difficult, honestly. It's not that difficult. I don't think I look great on camera, but you know, I'm sure you could all do a great job and look, you know, very, you know, good. And I would love to see some of you doing that. Yeah. Okay, keep going, please. Convincing them with their material. Now, you don't want to do something for free, but if you really like the client and you like what they're doing, this is something you could do. I was asked to do a book. No, I was offered the chance to do a book about an animal. I can't say too much about this, but they weren't convinced I could do it because it's a really specific niche, like an animal. And I said to them, I wrote a book for a German university, which is true. I translated a book about timber for a German university, a long textbook, 600 pages. But this was different. But as you know, as for translators, we research well. And in a way, if you write very well and you research very well, it's definitely possible. You're never going to find a translator who's an expert in this particular animal. But I had to convince them. So you know what I did? They gave me a PDF. I went to the author's foreword and I just translated it and I sent it back to them and said, I believe that the best way to show you that I could do this would be just to give you a sample. And what better sample to use than the author's foreword? And you know, I got the job. And you could choose a bit of the website. If you really like the company, you want to get them, this would make a big impact. Translate it perfectly, make a PDF with the left and right, before and after, send it to a decision maker. Don't just send it to the normal email, send it to the boss or the decision maker. I think that could work. You know, it's obviously takes time and effort, but you know, all these things take time and effort. You know, people don't do it, you could try. Yeah, let's keep going. Researching EE research, EE, end of the earth, I call this end of the earth research. I love researching to the end of the earth. I do. I go into crazy detail, laser focus, crazy detail. A Japanese company, I still have some Japanese companies who give me work. I'm very grateful for that. They asked me for Japanese German translators. I don't do that myself. I'm not native German. I don't do that. But I didn't say no straight away. It's not my style. No, because I know I can find this. I know I can. And I researched. The German embassy in Tokyo had a list of approved sworn translators who can do this language pair. It took me about 5 minutes to find it. And I have some other ways to find it, pros.com and various ways. So I think it's great when the company asks you. It's good if you don't automatically say no all the time. Be confident of your ability to find these people sometimes. They're willing to pay for this. Often I've had companies that pay me for a finder's fee or introductory fee for this information. They're very, very happy to do that because it's solving a problem for them. I don't want to say pain points. I don't like the word. I would say, I like to look at it like they have challenges, you're solving them. Or even when they don't feel in pain, you're giving them extra value. That's more how I like to look at it. Yeah. So most of the time, if a company has a problem, I might not be able to solve it myself, but I can find someone who can. That's my attitude. Yeah, let's keep going. VA. So finally, I'm winding up soon, but the VA, virtual assistant, why is it important? Work and play online more than ever. So the VA by nature is online. I hope I'm going to meet you guys in the Philippines. I really hope I will, because we've really having a good time, and Asia is very special for me. So I am looking forward sometime to say hi, but for now it's online. So yeah. Relationships depend on responsiveness and give us gain. As we've probably heard before, answer emails quickly. Don't leave people hanging. Responsiveness is important. It's good. And if you have VAs, you're better able to do this. They can do this for you in some cases. They help you optimally exploit the limited time you have. I know this, I have a young baby at home. I have a special needs kid. My time is extremely limited. I definitely rely on them to help me. I have one lady in Germany, and this is not a sales pitch, but I have a really expert VA in Germany who does the heavy lifting in Germany for me, sometimes with bureaucracy and so on. And I have these two great ladies in the Philippines who are helping me, including today. And as a combination, of course it costs money, but the value it gives me and the work it allows me to do is in balance. So that's also something I could discuss more. If people want to talk more about that later, that's absolutely fine. I'm just giving you an idea at the moment. Focus on what you're best at, what fulfills you, what makes you money. Let a VA handle most of all of the rest. Yeah. Okay. Next, please. How to choose VA? Ask me. I did a video for this. I did a video because I think a video was the way I wanted to express exactly what I wanted, and I asked them to do a video back. And it's quite a high bar to a video back. So only the people who really wanted to work with me did a video back. But this showed me that they were the right people, because they not only did a video, but they did this kind of like exhaustive detail, which I like, personality. It's a combination of everything. No one else would do this, I admit. There was hundreds of people when I advertised for a VA, and I think I went through everyone. This is me. I want the very best people because I have all these pressures on me. And as you can see, this PowerPoint actually was pretty bad, and Seth worked wonders to make it beautiful for you today. And this is just one example. So I can highly recommend a VA. And if people want more about how to do that, happy to help. Red lines, treat them as partners who work with you, not for you. This is my style, with you, not for you. Encourage them to be proactive and share ideas. Share your personality. If the more they know about you and what you like, the better able they are to match you with the companies and the business you like. Nurture a deeper relationship. This is what I believe. Yeah. Okay, keep going. They can make leads on LinkedIn. They can learn your voice and approach new clients. They can screen and qualify new clients from chambers of commerce listings of companies and trade show event listings. They can beautify the visuals, which this PowerPoint is an example exactly. She did an amazing job. Well done, Seth. Very good. Handle incoming and outgoing email messaging content. Generate your market intelligence by stalking clients, and don't take that the wrong way. You know what I mean by that. It's you know, yeah. Okay. Now I'm coming to the end. So I reach out to experts before I did this presentation because I want to get, sounding points from real experts who sell hundreds of thousands of books and so on. I'm like that. I'm fearless. I will approach anyone. And some wrote back. And again, I don't have space here to show everything they told me, but I got some very valuable feedback. They all responded. I think 75% responded. This was the insights from one expert. Rapport, desires, uncover challenges, explain your value, coach them on decision, get paid. It may seem too simplistic, but he knows what he's talking about. This is roughly overlapping something of what I said. I hope it resonates a bit. Okay, let's keep going. So Amazon, this is my video. I chose this, it's just 2 minutes and I am winding up soon. This video is one LinkedIn post I did, and it's a technique. I just used it just now, literally with those people who are best-selling books on marketing, getting clients. I want to give you the best and the advice. And so I reached out to these people and I got some audiobook links. I got those points you just saw. I got personal connection on LinkedIn from people who wrote best-selling books. Honestly, you'd be surprised. Now, this technique is something I often use. Can we play the video, please? I want to share this one with you.
Hi, LinkedIn family. Well, if you're anything like me, most of you watching this will use LinkedIn and Amazon probably on a daily basis or close to it. And what I wanted to share with you today was recently something I found about those two platforms. So Amazon, back in the day was a way to buy books online, but now staggeringly, I did recently read that 64% of the world uses Amazon, which is incredible. It's kind of unbelievable, but yes, 64% of the world's population use Amazon. And LinkedIn, well, much fewer people use LinkedIn, but I had a lot of joy recently with using the two platforms in combination, and I'll try and share with you what happened. So when I was researching for an interview, the topic of the interview was something I wasn't totally familiar with at the start. But what I did was I typed in some keywords to Amazon and I found, 4 or 5 experts in the field because, obviously the books that sell the most or the reviews that are most positive are usually the people with the best expertise. And when you look at those books and you find the author, you will generally find the successful authors also have a LinkedIn presence. And it just occurred to me that, well, I could buy the books, but time is pressing, and I probably wouldn't have been able to read the books in the time I had available. But why don't I try and contact the author and say, I appreciate your expertise, and I've seen that you are an expert in this area. Could I ask you a few questions, humbly and politely and compellingly, if I do say so myself. And that approach was amazing. I got the input from 3 or 4 experts within 1 or 2 days. And recently, I have had friends in different situations, and I've told them, whether you are looking to change your career or research your graduation paper, someone was doing a graduation paper on South Sudan, which is not, the most well-known of countries. But then again, when you go to Amazon, you type in South Sudan, you get the people who know their stuff. And then you go to LinkedIn, and yes, some of them are on LinkedIn. And it's very simple, but it's been a real amazing game changer for me. And it's not as simple as finding the person and mailing them. You have to do it in a very kind of a way that makes them want to respond to you. And that is something I think that I've developed and I would say I'm doing well at. So if you want to know more, please feel free to contact me. But that was my contribution for your weekend LinkedIn. Hope you're all doing fine. Let's look forward to a good week. Okay, cheers everyone. Bye for now.
Right, so Amazon, LinkedIn and Amazon, that is an idea which I think was really typical of my thinking. I like to think laterally, and maybe that was really lateral, but yeah, that's an example. Let's keep going. So this actually was, sorry, suddenly go to the end. This was my webinar, and I want to stop because I want to give other people a chance to speak. And Silva, my great friend Silva, who did a great webinar, and she inspired me actually to do this one today. And I'm sorry I didn't mention that before, but I do want her to speak for a few minutes now, and then we'll have Q&A. I hope people can stick around. But I did try to put some interesting ideas into your, minds, and I hope that it was useful. And this was the first one I did. Hopefully I can do more in future. And I think, thank you very much for listening. And yeah, I'm happy to let Silva take over and speak now. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Richard. This was really amazing, and it was. I really like your point of views, and maybe to pick up the others where we have come from. It's sort of a little movement that we have started here. I feel like just last week, last Monday, I did sort of a similar seminar or webinar on it was called how to be always fully booked as a freelance translator. And it was my first webinar ever, and I was so incredibly surprised that I had 33 participants. I mean, Richard smashed it today. He has 50 plus, I think. But this, to me, it was amazing. 33 people listening to what we got to say about how to win clients as a translator. I mean, I would never have expected that anyone would be interested in that because to me, it is so normal and natural. I mean, I've been running an agency for 22 years now, and I started out as a freelance translator as well. And all I did last Monday was actually just sharing my experience and sharing my knowledge, talking about my story, about my way, and giving some useful tips that brought me where I am today. And the feedback was so incredible. So I received so many requests for one-to-one calls. Some of the people I talked with are here today in this round as well. And then Richard had the idea of actually, he posted under my post, you know, Silva, I was so inspired by what you did. I decided to do just the same, well, not the same thing, but to give you my take on the same topic, how you won clients. And then it sort of took off, so you had like 200 people registering for it. We set up a LinkedIn group. Maybe one of your wonderful VAs can just post the link maybe in the chat. It would be really great if all of you who are interested in learning more about that just joined this group. It's called Fully Booked Translators LinkedIn group. There will be some good content, and I think if all of us in this round share what they know about how to convince clients, how to win clients, I think it can be a great movement, and there is so much we can share to make all of us successful. The world is big enough for all of us. That's what's interesting. And Richard and me, we were actually thinking about taking up again the idea of sort of a mentoring. Both of us did this before. So I have trained like 300 plus translators during the past 22 years. Richard has a lot of experience. So this is just ideas developing from this point where we are now. And I think if you're interested, there can be much more to come. So just be in touch and let us know. And we'll also be happy to talk to you if you want to. And I think there's sort of a movement starting. And I want to give a shout out to Chris again, because he's in this round as well. Chris was actually the very first one who started it, because he did a very honest post on LinkedIn saying like, well, you studied so hard to become a translator. You put so much effort in it. And now you're sitting there some days and you have no work at all. And you would actually want to do more. But where are the clients? Where can we find them? Where do we get them? And this is where I thought, okay, let's talk about it. And then Richard jumped in and said, I also have something to say. And I think, let's start a little movement, Fully Booked Translators, hashtag on LinkedIn. There is a LinkedIn group. Maybe we can we will post.
I'm trying to find it now. The link. Thanks, Silva. Is that okay? Thanks very much for that. I just want to build on what you said. I think we want a LinkedIn group and a Facebook group just to make it easier for people to connect in any way they want. I think it's too valuable if we don't share this connection. The idea is to connect and network, and you know, some of the ideas I couldn't develop in really exhaustive detail, but I'm happy to do that in future probably. So the Facebook link is in the chat, and the LinkedIn link we'll try and put in the chat. Can someone put that in? Chris, maybe the LinkedIn group. Sorry, I'm kind of struggling to find it now. LinkedIn fully booked. And I want to say, like, maybe some questions as well. If people want to ask some questions, maybe 10 minutes questions. And now, if people want to ask questions, I'm happy to answer. Yeah, if you want to put your LinkedIn profile in the chat as well so people can connect with you, why not do that? Yeah, thanks, Sylvia. And thanks, everyone, really for your attention and joining. If you want to put your LinkedIn profile. Yeah, I'm sure we can do the recording. Contact me, you know, we'll find a way to get that to you.
Rich, I think there's some concerns that were in the chat. So would you like it? Would you like me to read it to you?
Yeah, could you
Yeah,
could you
sure.
stop sharing now? Maybe not stop sharing.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, I lost it. I lost it. I have to find it. Something about where can she find these trade shows, these companies?
Yeah. I believe that, you know, the trade shows, as I said, most towns and cities have a trade show venue, and what you have is somewhere in that website you'll have a list of events, and on the events you'll have an event dedicated website for the event. On that website event page you'll have a list of companies. That's how that's the way I see it most often. But you know, if people tell me where they live, if they're having trouble, I can research a bit for them. Yeah. Sorry, someone raised their hand.
Oh, hi, Richard. I wanted to say thank you for a fascinating presentation. It's really just a phenomenal movement, I think, at the moment to hear from yourself and from Silva and lots of different translators, and to just feel this growing sense of connection between translators. I was just interested to hear about how your experience now of being in Germany for the past few years has been, and whether you've been able to, I think you said you kept up with some of your Japanese clients. Have you found it tricky with the time zones? Have you had to have new clients? How has that worked out for you?
Yeah, very good question. I've been here actually just over a year, not years, but just over a year. And the time difference is challenging because, you know, 9 o'clock in the morning here is 9 o'clock in Japan is like 1 o'clock in the morning here, or, you know, 2. And so there are clients who they kind of understand I'm not in their time zone, but they're so used to me shooting them back work instantly that it takes some time. But they are very good clients, and, you know, they pay well. So it's a kind of give and take. They know that I'm giving my best, and I often write back to them at 5 in the morning here, you know, which is already kind of lunchtime in Japan. But I think the key thing there is rapport. If you build a personal rapport with them, they're more likely to give you, you know, a lot of sway. They wouldn't be in touch with me if there wasn't a great rapport there, because they can easily find translators who are in Japan and, you know, same time zone. So this personal aspect I mentioned is totally vital in a way, even if it's online, to have this rapport, because as we know, we're all replaceable, and what's not replaceable is your unique kind of personality, which, you know, quirkiness and edginess, which I think I have, and probably you all have some way. But yeah, but it is a challenge, and I do have some clients here. And one thing about here, and, you know, I live in Düsseldorf, which is the biggest Japanese community in Germany. So speaking Japanese and German English, I said to some companies, like, I can help Japanese here who are coming here, the expats, you know, because they 600 Japanese companies here. And I did get some side hustle doing that, showing Japanese expats where to live, and, you know, that kind of work administration. So it's all, again, spotting opportunities like this. I think relocation work is something I enjoy because I've been an expat myself. I like helping people. Yeah. Any more questions? Hope that answered the other one. Any other questions? Anyone say anything? British accent in France. Yeah, I actually helped British people in Japan a lot. The Rugby World Cup happened. It's not as big as the Soccer World Cup, but I helped the England fans. They were over to rugby, and actually they were so grateful. I don't want to brag here. They called me Oracle because I was answering all their questions. They paid for a ticket to the semi-final with New Zealand in Yokohama. They sent me on the train, crowdfunded me a ticket because I was just, for me, it was easy to answer their questions, but they were extremely grateful. So it's a good area. I think it's very satisfying. We can help people. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything? Anyone else want to say anything?
Rich, from the comment section,
Yeah.
from N. Robin SA, perhaps share risk from your experience in a future program.
Yeah. What risks would that be? I think it's valid, but I'm not sure. You mean work risks or client maybe? Client specific. Yeah, I think when you work with direct clients, the responsibility is bigger because the agency kind of it's on them if the work isn't good. Well, obviously you want the work to be good, and most of the time it is, but direct clients, there's no room for error in a way because they're the end client, and they pay better, and they give you more deadline and so on, but they expect more as well. So if you're not at the stage in your career where you feel you could handle that, then I would totally understand. Like most translators, I work with agencies only for a long time, but I feel now that I have enough on my belt, enough years of experience to open the net wider and to approach companies without any fear. I think having a LinkedIn profile is crucial. You don't all need a really nice website. Actually, it's really, I paid for one this year and I haven't finished it yet. It's embarrassing, but LinkedIn profile, yes, I actually pay for premium. You don't have to pay for premium, but I think having a LinkedIn profile on point is vital. I think all this direct client stuff won't work because the first thing they do is look you up. They look you up. They all look you up. It's a given. We look each other up. When you're working with someone, you meet someone new. I do, even when I meet someone new, I mean, not stalking, but you do tend to look at social media. I do. I think it's what most people do, or many people. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions or points? Cess, are you there?
Yeah, still here.
I apologize. I didn't let you speak at the start, and that you
No,
were going to
it's
start.
okay.
Could you do a few words at the end? Could you tell them what it's like to work for me and being a VA? Because it's been a bit of a journey for you and a good journey. And I'm not doing this for my ego, honestly, but I wanted to let you speak because you were supposed to speak at the start. How's it been for you to understand everything and the journey? What's it been like?
So yeah, working with Rich as his VA, he doesn't want me to call him boss because he always wants not superior of him, but as a work partner, as a team, and he doesn't want to be called a boss. And so far, working as a VA for Rich, I've learned a lot. Actually, I've learned so much from working as his VA, not only through winning clients, such as we've discussed this evening, that was a very good or great tool to seek other clients as well and offer services. Yeah, so far so good.
Thank you, Cess, and you're doing a great job. And very well. Big thank you for your PowerPoint was very exceptional today. You did the PowerPoint graphics for me. Thank you. And Christine, could you say a few words to finish? Christine is your sister, by the way. Christine and Cecile are sisters. Christine, are you there?
Yeah, hi everyone. I just want to say real quick, can we do a web feed, like a webinar selfie before we end?
Yeah, how do we do that?
Just turn on your cameras and I'll do it on my end. Turn on your cameras and then flash your big smile. And this is longer than the usual selfie, but this is okay. I'll just say smile and then you smile. Okay?
All right. Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. I need to do another one.
Okay. Go on.
Hold on. Okay. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Big smile. All right, that's
Okay,
it.
so we'll share that in the Facebook group. We'll put it in the Facebook group. I mean, I'm not pressuring anyone, but if you could join the group, it'd be great. I'd like to network more and so on. LinkedIn group as well, fully booked translations. I think that just about rounds up from me, but thank you everyone again. Hope it's been useful, and do connect. I think you all have my LinkedIn, and you're very welcome to connect and follow up on me if you want more detail or anything. Thanks so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye. Ciao.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Richard. Thank you,
you.
Richard.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.